Graphing systems of inequalities. In order to graph a system of inequalities, we must graph each inequality separately. We will start by graphing x plus 2y is greater than 1. Our first step is to change the inequality here to equals. We then need to find 2 points that work in the equation and graph the line. We will start by finding the intercepts, meaning we will let x equal 0 and then find y. In this case, y would have to be 0.5, and so 0.5 is on the graph. We then set y equal to 0 and find x. When y is 0, x is 1. So the point 10 is on the graph. Before we draw the line, we must first decide if it's going to be solid or dotted. To figure it out, we go back to the original inequality and look at the symbol here. Since it is just a greater than symbol and not a greater than or equal to, it is a dotted line. We now have to figure out which side of that dotted line to shade. To do so, we pick a point and see if it works in the original inequality. Usually, the point 0, 0 is chosen. So now in the original inequality, plugging in 0 for both x and y, we have to figure out if in fact it is a true statement. After evaluating the expression, we get 0 is greater than 1. That is a not true statement, so we will not shade the side 0 is on. We must shade the opposite side. We now graph the other inequality, and we use a similar process. We must first change the greater than or equal to sign, in this case the less than or equal to sign, into equals. We will use the slope-intercept process to graph this line. We must first find the y-intercept, which is 2. So we plot 2 on the y-axis. We now use the slope, which is in this case 3, and move 1 right and then 3 up to give us a slope of 3 over 1, or a rise over run of 3. We then plot the point and draw a line that is either solid or dotted depending on the symbol. Since the symbol is less than or equal to, our line is a solid line. Again, we check the point 0, 0 and see if it works in this inequality. After plugging in 0 for x and 0 for y, we evaluate the expression and get 0 is less than or equal to 2, which is a true statement. Since it is a true statement, 0, 0 did work in the inequality, and we will now shade the side that 0, 0 is on. After shading the second inequality, we can now see that since the second inequality shading was blue, the original's was yellow. Where they overlap is the green area, and that becomes the solution to the graph of the inequalities.